Welcome everyone to another session of GMU Talk Exchange Conversation with Educators. Today we have Dr. Shweta Jain, Direct Dean and Program Head of IBS Jaipur. Welcome, ma'am. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Dr. Shweta Jain has over 17 years of experience as educationalist, academic administrator, and soft skills trainer. She has a versatile academic millennium, including PhD, executive program in human resource management from IIM Calcutta, PGDBA HR, diploma training and development, MCA and MSc computers. Her PhD research was on behavior training, interventions, and telecom sector. Her publications include research papers in national and international journals and case studies registered with the Case Center UK. Her academic interests include organizational behavior, soft skill competency, mapping and employee training and development. She's an active learning and development professional associated with reputed organizations. Ma'am, that was a very impressive profile that you have there.
Thank you.
And to just understand, we would like to know how your journey as an academician started.
So as you mentioned that it is 17 years of experience, I would be very honest about it. It is in cumulative 21. But why do I include the 17 as a separate bracket? It was in the early 2000s. I started as a faculty member teaching IT to management students.
Okay.
So I was an MCA postgraduate and I entered into teaching as a faculty for management students. And interestingly, this was something I landed into academics by chance. The first interview, I remember the expert on the other side very categorically telling me that this voice modulation and maybe this communication would help you excel in teaching. I perhaps was not even clued up regarding the different aspects of communication till that time. See, it was quite superficial in those days. Good language skills used to be good communication skills. So we did not delve deep into the idea of how the voice modulation or body language make a difference to your entire communication. So while I started teaching management students, I gradually realized that I may not be able to do full justice unless I am a management scholar. I go through that entire learning process. So I gave a break. I got into my MBA program. So that is how it all happened. But that is where I would say that a teacher is a lifelong learner. So I started my career, but I ensured that I take a break so that I'm equipped with the right set of competencies to become a teacher. That's how I got into my program with IIM Calcutta. And then I took up an advanced program with XLRI also. And once I was sure that in terms of qualifications, I meet the prerequisites to be an academician for management students, I got into ICFAI, and that was how it all started. So those 17 years are attributed to a learning after being sure that I have the necessary competencies.
That's great to know, ma'am. That was a well-founded journey to be an academician. So, ma'am, as IBS or ICFAI being well-renowned in all over India, so what sets IBS Jaipur apart from other business schools, be it, say, curriculum-wise or the courses wise?
See, it goes without saying that when we talk IBS, we take it synonymous to case study methodology. IBS has been the institution that has established case study as a B-school teaching mechanism, or I would not even call it a teaching mechanism, a learning contrivance. So how we developed on case studies, how we ensure that every single resource in our system can address the case study methodology with full proficiency. So one thing that definitely makes us distinguished is our intense focus on case study methodology. I always take it this way. If I wish to play football, I cannot just randomly go and play anywhere. I need to have a football ground. If I'm cycling, I need to have a cycling track. If I need to swim, I need to go into a swimming pool. So implies if you need to be in business studies, you need to be in business. You cannot be in business as a scholar. Case studies serve as a replica. So we focused a lot on case study methodology, and gradually we started uncovering the ideas that those terms that we use today, experiential learning, immersive learning, action learning. It was something that was a part of our methodology right from the beginning. For example, if I talk about action learning, I perceive it to be a mechanism where you are put to problems. You bring out solutions to the problems and you critically review your own solutions in the light of the inputs coming from different directions. So case study methodology essentially puts you into that situation where you think and act like a manager. So you may try to bring viable solutions to complex business problems, and then you have the entire peer group with you. So discussions, deliberations, discourse, contemplations, and that leads to you, that puts you into that frame of mind that yes, I need to critically re-examine my own solutions. So that idea of bringing solutions, examining solutions, and maybe trying to refine your own solutions, that is what I look at as action learning. So case study methodology empowers us to drive action learning in the class. Further, we've been trying a lot of experiential learning exercises, starting from simulations to making a lot of different arrangements, like we practice in basket exercises, role plays, or syndicates, a lot of those methods that put students into those situations where they're actually, they experience the rigor of a real life business problem. So the entire focus is on action, experiential, and immersive learning. And what drives this entire process is case study methodology. That's how I believe that IBS distinguishes itself from the other B schools.
Good to know, ma'am. Always a case study helps, student to understand the terminologies better or the scenarios better in the real world scenarios as well. So, ma'am, another thing, as teachers are as important or faculty are as important to the growth of the institutions, how would IBS, choose their faculty to mentor the students, or what would be the hiring process when you're choosing a faculty for IBS?
I would actually put it in one simple phrase. We focus more on person organization fit. See, the way of looking at it is, if I talk about person job fit, you have a very clearly defined mechanism. There's a set of qualifications that you need to have to apply for assistant, associate, or maybe a professor. And we understand that these are the regimented process, that yes, people need to come with these qualifications, this level of experience, or this level of research contribution, or the intellectual capital that you have generated. What we focus more on is, one, industry experience. We welcome that a lot. I am not talking only in context of having professors of practice. I'm talking in context of different mechanisms, how we bring industry to our classrooms. So I've always been of an opinion that since we are grossly criticized as a fraternity, that academicians today are not able to produce what industry requires. So, I mean, people take that pride in saying that, a larger portion of the engineering or management graduates don't meet the industry requirements. We believe that we need to connect with the industry to ensure that if you find us inadequate to meet your requirements, you need to partner with us. So our mechanism is, one, we seek people with a decent industry experience to ensure that the insights and experiences that faculty bring to the class has a lot of element of the real world exposure. So over and above the defined qualifications, what we look for, we prefer faculty members with a PhD qualification, and we see what is the richness of the research that they have done. We definitely look into the experience or the kind of courses or the mechanisms or teaching methodologies they have been involved in. But most importantly, what we look at is our entire system talks about enhancing the employability of the students. Or we are basically not into teaching management concepts. We are looking at how do we prepare students to sustain, survive, and consistently grow based on their learnings. So one mechanism is industry exposure is something that we focus a lot on. Across all the courses, we see that we have practicing managers from industry who come as collaborators for teachers. So say, for example, in a semester, you have 30, 40, 35 sessions for a particular course. We ensure that at least 15 to 20% of the sessions of the, curriculum is delivered by industry professionals, where faculty essentially is a part of this entire learning process. They collaborate. Then we keep inviting corporate experts for capacity building programs, expert sessions. But when it comes to hiring core faculty members, we ensure that qualifications match the standards of IBS. And then we see that if they come with an industry experience, that is something that we would welcome. But we look at person organization fit. So IBS has a mechanism that every single class must be critically reviewed as to how does it enhance the employability of the student. So me as a teacher or any of my colleagues, after every class, we need to get into an exercise of introspection or reflection. Was I able to drive something that enhanced the employability? Definitely, case study methodology is a strong tool. So we see, are we finding people who are looking at an academician's role in a B school in a larger perspective, like industry connect, enhancing the employability, seeing how we create the right set of competencies in the students. When I say competencies, we work a lot on inculcating the crucial quotients. I would list them as intelligence quotient, emotional quotient, social quotient, digital quotient, experience quotient. I personally focus a lot on creating the right set of cultural quotient. Are they able to adapt to the diverse environments? Adversity quotients, are they able to survive the adversities? In fact, we these days even talk about inculcating the right kind of political quotient. Are they able to survive the power games in the organization, or maybe the interpersonal dynamics in the organization? So we are looking for people with a broader perspective who don't look at it as a curriculum to be covered, but look at it as a mechanism or an instrument to create a larger set of competent people. So the focus is on creating the right set of professionals.
That's great, ma'am. So having a passion-driven faculty would always help students to mold into what they are today. And as you said, a point where engineering students or management students are not industry ready. So I think the most of the organizations are going into collaborations with multinational companies or a different set of groups for student development. So what kind of industry collaborations does IBS have for the development of students in the growth or career, ma'am?
So we look at it in two ways. One is we are looking at the internships, life projects, and short work assignments. And the other is how do we bring knowledge in the class through industry collaboration. So we are associated with FICCI, we are associated with CII, we are associated with Employers Association. We are also associated with different professional bodies or the trade associations. So they bring in a lot of opportunities for our students to have industry exposure. So those short pay projects, those operation workouts, life projects, and then we have a very extensive internship program. So 14 weeks, 3.5 months, the students are put to internship. Here we have a very robust mechanism. You have a dedicated corporate guide, you have a dedicated faculty guide, and two mentors are working in collaboration across those 3.5 months to see how we get the best out of a student's potential. Then in terms of certifications or capacity building programs or knowledge enhancement programs, we've partnered at different occasions with different corporates. We have had a lot of capacity building programs with organizations like Rubicon Barclays. We have partnered with Deloitte for certifications in Power BI and similar emerging technologies. We had collaboration with different organizations for NISM certifications for finance aspirants. Then we have connected with a lot of HR consulting firms for solutions related to competency frameworks. Students understand that. And then we have also partnered for understanding selling skills. So we invited an expert agency to train our students for a week on selling skills. Then when it comes to financial modeling and similar types of arrangement, we have sought support from corporates for certifications that extended up to 3 months. But we ensure that all these certifications that we offer in collaboration with the industry, one, the lead trainer or the training resource comes from the industry. Two, there has to be a pre-training and a post-training assessment. So student has to appear for an evaluation component where we are able to actually gauge that what is the learning and how well the students have absorbed that entire, I would say those tools or those concepts or those methods that have been trained. So we are connected with multiple. In fact, if I look at it on an average in a year, we offer some 18 to 20 capacity building certifications for the students that are over and above those expert programs or those short certifications. So we ensure that this entire learning happens through industry resources and the evaluation also happens through them. So at least we can bridge a gap. They know that this is what they expect students to come with, and they have trained them, they have evaluated them. And IBS Mumbai has Bloomberg Terminal. So they have offered the opportunity to all of our campuses, including Jaipur. So our students go to Mumbai campus, they do attend those training programs, they complete the certification. So in that way, there is a lot of collaboration among our campuses also. And then we ensure that we bring an opportunity from all possible corporates that are willing and more than, keen to offer learning support to academic institutions. But we are a regular with all the trade associations and professional bodies.
That's great to know, ma'am. And my next question would be, ma'am, how would you promote a diverse and inclusive campus environment within your institution?
The world is talking about diversity, inclusion, equity, belongingness as something that is definitely the future. For us, we have been fortunate because when we look at the entire process, right from our input cycle, it starts because our admissions process are centralized. So when we look at all campuses, we have students coming from different states. You would be surprised to know in the first year MBA program this year, I have as much as 24 Telugu speaking students, 19 Bengali speaking students. I have a good lot of 50 plus students coming from Maharashtra. So that way we attract students. This year, when I was trying to just go through the data, it was 24 different states that we had students coming from. So the moment we realized that we have been blessed with a very diverse learning cohort, how do we do justice to it? The first thing that we do is take help of data. We segregate our learning sections in a way that every section you have an adequate mix in terms of gender, in terms of the regions they come from, their languages, the socio-economic background, because we get the data related to the parents' occupation or profession also. We also segregate it on the basis of the academic background. So you may be, we have graduates coming from medicine and homeopathy also. So architecture, dentist, commerce, humanities, pure sciences. So we see that we sort our data on all these parameters, and then we segregate sections to ensure that everywhere we have a good mix of students coming from different places, different languages, different socioeconomic backgrounds, different academic backgrounds. On gender particularly, we ensure that there is an adequate balance throughout. One, the admissions process helps us in getting a diverse learning group. Second, we create those small learning cohorts very thoughtfully, and we put in a lot of data in this process. No, we analyze and we see that we create a very uniform kind of arrangement. Over and above that, what helps us is we have 15 active clubs here. Now, these clubs are the driver of entire process. I mean, we have worked on this EEE strategy, that is empowerment, enablement, and enrichment for the students. So our students take up positions of responsibilities in these clubs, and they have the targets to organize a lot of activities and ensure that these activities strengthen this entire idea of diversity and inclusion. So these clubs, they organize on an average 6 activities in a year. So 2 have to be within the school. The next set of 2 has to be, between different schools, and 1 we organize at a larger level. So when they look into these activities, they bring in volunteers from different sectors. And when you organize something which is like on a national level, or maybe something events that are happening on a larger level, they need to solicit participations from all directions. So we put students to those areas that you connect with all quarters and see that you bring in participation from all directions. So again, there is a lot of diversity in terms of the core group or the process owners for every event, co-scholastic, extracurricular, whatever we have. Over and above that, we have ensured that we attract faculty members also from different areas, not only in terms of domain or the years of experience or the kind of projects they have worked on, but also in terms of their overall orientation. We've even tried working on, I would say, the softer aspects of it. When we talk about their cultural orientations, their spiritual orientations, or maybe their value system. So we do a lot of psychometric assessments on students, and wherever we have some interesting or maybe some, I would say, some exceptional kind of an observation, we ensure that we work on those areas. So diversity in terms of their personalities or their value systems is also something that we work upon. So we work with the help of a lot of personality and psychometric assessment tools. We work with the help of a lot of experts coming in, and then fortunately, our system invites students from all parts of the country. So we have a very diverse campus. And then one of our clubs that is called the Navrang Club, that is the cultural club. So we've established a dedicated cultural club that organizes activities, been very recently we had Onam celebrations. The coming week we have Janmashtami, Gokulutsav. So be it Christmas, be it Diwali, be it Makar Sankranti, we ensure that we have large scale celebrations. And these are driven by the students. So they will create that kind of inclusion in the campus. So they are the responsibility lies on the students.
That's great to know, ma'am. Involving students to drive inclusion, that makes a more bond between the students, and it makes everybody feel comfortable in the
True.
campus. Yes. Ma'am, my last question would be, could you share some success stories of your institute's alumni and how they have excelled in their respective fields?
So I understand with the limitation of time, I may not be able to talk about. I mean, there are several stories that I, as a teacher, would be more than delighted to talk about. But if I just try to recall quickly, uh, I'll take it in a chronological order. Like last week, I was sitting with one of our alumnus. He's working with UST. So he's at this moment the lead HR for business success. So lead HR business success enabler. His name is Sam Matthew. He's stationed at Trivandrum office of UST. So interestingly, he came to us because he wanted to take up a PhD program after 8 years of work experience. So that would be a part-time program because we have a lot of corporate executives taking up PhD program here. So while discussing with him, I asked him, how has your journey, I see when you started, you were working with a textile firm in Ahmedabad, and then he moved to edtech industry, and then now UST happening to him, and he's doing extremely well there. So being the lead HR for business success is definitely in itself a very strong position, and the kind of learning orientation. So maybe another 3 years, and we have him as maybe a PhD qualified candidate who is in the industry. But presently, his role and the discussions that I had with him surprised me, like the kind of huge workforce that he's working for, and how he's seeing that business success is driven through people. So success enabler in itself is a very strong responsibility. Then we had an alumnus, Nivedita Srivastav. So she was a hotel management graduate, and then she took up an MBA program with us. So for quite some years, she was with hotel industry, where when she was working with the Accor Group, she was featured as one of the success stories, those 7 selective success stories of Accor Group, global level, at a global level. So we got to, she fetched us a lot of laurels and pride. And incidentally, when I met her at Hyderabad just last month, she's now working with Corteva Agri-Science, which is an agri-science firm. Imagining a management graduate who comes from a hotel management background, has no exposure to agricultural sciences. She's now the lead HR for business development in Corteva Agri-Science. So this is that continuous learning orientation, or that versatility in your overall learning attitude, that you are good to fit in any kind of industry. And then looking at a company like Corteva Agriscience, which is a very, very reputed multinational and has been active like for decades altogether. And very recently, I got to know that one of our alumnus, Konark Jain, he was given this a recognition. It was some international award. He's working in the real estate sector, so he has a consultancy of his own. So he was recognized at Singapore on a global platform as an international achiever. Then I could also recall there was this very interesting kind of profile this girl had, Devika Mathur. She's taking care of her own business, NAC Global. This company manufactures fertilizer enhancers. So they are working on chemicals, or maybe those compositions that enhance the quality of fertilizers. So they were headquartered at India, and in those days they were operating at Brazil and I think some locations in Africa. This girl has taken this business to 7 different countries, and NAC Global is now truly global. So she's the director there, and a management graduate, again, working on something like that is enhancing the quality of fertilizers and establishing those huge manufacturing facilities or those plants across the world. Presently, she's, if I'm not mistaken, she's stationed at US, and she's managing all these 7 facilities. So this way, and another alumnus, Aman Katyal, he started as a market research associate. At this moment, he's, I think, strategic marketing and insights enabler with Hero MotoCorp. So these are students who I could see that they could venture into those very rare territories, which perhaps are not those territories where general B school graduates would like to get into, or maybe they make a mark there.
That's a good alumni story, ma'am. Recently, I've heard because it is also looking diversified sectors where alumni have been stationed right now. So that's great to know. Um, Ma'am, thanks for your time. That would be my last question, and I would like to, have your closing comments for this interview today.
I appreciate this idea that we are connecting because I understand that professionals like you are serving as a linking pin between academia and industry. And as I mentioned in the beginning, there was something that disturbed me to the core that how the overall academic fraternity is pronounced, not meeting the expectations of the larger, maybe, the economy or the industry or society. So over the last 2 decades, when we see that there's so much of focus in industry academia collaboration, and we are seeing that we come together to see that this gap is bridged and we are able to produce the right set of professionals, things have really turned very, very positive. And I'm sanguine that with your intervention or with the ways you are connecting us and making us reach to all sets of audiences, perhaps we would get inputs from all directions and see that we are able to cater to the expectations of all stakeholders. And as a B school, we are able to create the right set of professionals. I believe that is a responsibility that we have as professional educational institutions, and partners like you would help us big way in realizing the objectives that we have set for ourselves.
Thank you very much, ma'am. We always try to give maximum information about, universities, what kind of courses and what kind of, activities they are driving, and how students can benefit from these courses, and how can they drive their career out of these courses is what's our genuine concern is always, and we try to give that to the industry always.
And we
So
earnestly appreciate that.
thank you
And we
very much,
promise
ma'am.
all support from our side.
Thank you
Thank
very
you so
much, ma'am.
much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time, ma'am, today. And it
Thank
was
you.
pleasure talking to you.
Same here.
Thank you, ma'am.